Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to learn how to make this cute little baby octopus. So this keychain is also made by me. I will show you guys how to make it. And this headband, it has two ribbons on either sides. And this is just a chain. This is just made using chains. So yeah, let's get started. You're gonna need 4-ply milk cotton yarn, 3mm crochet hook, pair of scissors, polyfill. If you don't have polyfill, you can use scrap yarn. This is 5mm half bead, a stitch marker, darning needle, a key ring if your baby octa is gonna be a keychain, and the B6000 glue. You can use super glue, but this is the glue that I use. So yeah, let's get started. This video is for complete beginners, so if you know nothing, don't worry. I am a right-hander, so this is my left hand, this is my right hand. I use the hook on my right hand and my working yarn on my left hand. So first of all, let's learn how to make the magic ring. There are two ways. I'll be teaching you both ways. The easiest way is to start with 2 chains. So for that, you're gonna have the yarn on your hand like this. This is known as the tail end, and this is the working yarn which is connected to the yarn ball. This is my left hand, so you're gonna have the yarn on your hand like this, and then you're gonna form a loop around your left hand index finger like this. You're gonna slide in your right index finger like this, and you're gonna twist once, then you're gonna insert your thumb in, and you're gonna pull this tail through this loop like this. Okay, let me show it to you one more time. So we're gonna have the loop over the 2 index fingers like this, and you are going to twist your right index finger. You're going to slide your thumb into this loop, and then you are going to pull out this tail end through like this. Okay, so this is the slip knot. You can slide your crochet hook into the slip knot, and as you can see, this loop is too big, right? So you can make it smaller by pulling from this tail end. So let me show it to you. So it gets smaller. Okay, so this is your slip knot, and now we'll start to make the chain. So for that, first, this is how I handle the working yarn. So this is my left hand, and I'm gonna send it over my fingers like this. So the way you handle the working yarn will be the reason of the tension in your work. So this is how I handle it. So I wrap it like twice around my left index finger. I hold the knot using my middle finger and thumb. Okay, so let's make the first chain. Look at the crochet hook. The head is pointed towards you, towards the screen. I'm going to send the yarn over the hook like this, or technically I am just sending the hook under the yarn. Okay, I'm sending the hook under the yarn, and the yarn is over the hook, so I call this as yarn over. Okay, we were here just like this, and what you are going to do is look at the crochet hook head. You can pull this through this loop like this. Okay, that is your first chain. Okay, do it again. We have the crochet hook and the yarn like this. Okay, you're gonna send the yarn over the hook, and then you are going to pull through. So I made 2 chains. Now into the first chain, can you see 2 chains? This one and this one, 2 chains. Into the first chain, you are going to make 6 single crochets. So how to do that? You are going to insert the hook into the first chain like this, and then now I'm going to pull up this loop like this, insert the hook into the first chain, pull up the yarn like this. You got 2 loops on your hook. You're gonna yarn over and pull through both loops. That is your first single crochet. Now if you do have a stitch marker, mark this as your first stitch, or else you can use a bobby pin or safety pin. Just mark this as your first stitch. Since you are beginners, this is very important. Since you are not familiar with the stitches, you have to keep the stitch count, so mark this as your first stitch. Okay. Again, insert your hook into the same place. Now remember, we have to make 6 single crochets. I made one. Now I'm making the second single crochet. Insert the hook, pull up the loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through both loops. That is our second single crochet. So you have to make 4 more. Insert, pull up a loop. Don't worry if this is getting bigger. Yarn over, pull through 2. Insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. How many did we make? We have 1. You can see this V shape, that is a stitch. Okay, so this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, 4, 5. We have to make 1 more. Insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay. So now you can see this is very big, right? So pull from this tail end and you should get something that looks like this. Okay. Next, you are going to remove the stitch marker. Now this is round 1 of our pattern, and this has a total stitch count of 6 stitches. Now we are going to start row 2. So now you have to insert the hook into the place where the stitch marker was. So that was our first stitch. So insert the hook into that, pull up a loop. You got 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Now mark this as your first stitch, and into the same you have to make another single crochet into the same first stitch. So insert, why is it hard? Insert, pull up a loop. You got 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. So now into the first stitch you made 2 single crochets. Likewise, into the remaining 5 stitches you have to make 2 single crochets each. Making 2 single crochets into 1 stitch is known as increase. So in patterns you will see it as INC. Okay, so if you see INC, that means you have to do an increase. Basically you have to make 2 stitches into 1. So now in our pattern we are using only single crochets here. So let me show it to you. So we are using single crochets to make the head and the body. Actually no head, just the body. For the legs we'll be using half double crochets and slip stitches. If you see an increase, basically you just have to make 2 stitches into 1 stitch. So So into the next, make 2 single crochets, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So into the same, make 1 more, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So once you make 2 single crochets into each of these stitches, at the end of this row you'll be having a total stitch count of 12. Okay. Now I will stop doing this because I want to show you guys how to do this using the magic ring. I prefer to use the magic ring now. Earlier I used to use this chain 2 method, but the magic ring will give you a more neat look. So let me show it to you guys. Okay, so back to the beginning. Okay. So this is our tail end and this is the working yarn. So to make the magic ring, first of all, you're gonna have your index and middle finger like this and the tail end like this. You have to make a cross over the 2 fingers like this, and I'm holding this working yarn in place with the help of these 2 fingers. Okay, and you take the crochet hook onto your right hand and you are going to just look at the head of the crochet hook. It's this way, not this way. This way, that is easier. Okay, so send it under this first one, the closest to the hook. Send it under, over, and you have to pull this one, loosen this up a bit, pull this out, and you are going to twist it like this. Okay, let me show it to you again. So you made the X, send the hook under, over, and pull it out and twist. And to top it off, you are going to send the yarn over the hook like this and pull it through this loop. Okay, hold from the knot and let all of this go. Okay, and to make this loop a little bit smaller, I'm going to pull from this tail end. So as you can see, it gets smaller. Okay, and then I'm gonna have the working yarn over my left hand like this, and ta-da, this is the magic ring. Okay, so now into this you have to make 6 single crochets. Now earlier we made 2 chains, and into the first chain we made 6 single crochets. Now we have made the magic ring, and into this you have to make 6 single crochets. Okay, so insert, same thing, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2. That is the first single crochet. Mark it. Don't forget to mark your first stitch if you are an absolute beginner, because when you are starting out it is very easy to forget the stitch count. It will be very hard for you to find the stitch, so it's better to mark your first stitch. Okay, that is 1. Now we have to make 5 more. So insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So this is the single crochet, and this is the one that we'll be doing to form this body part. Okay, this whole thing, it's just single crochets. Okay, we made 1 2 3 4. 2 more. Insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, now as you can see, you have to make this loop smaller so you can pull from this tail end, and this will get closed. Okay, so this is much more neat than the chain 2. Remove the stitch marker, and into the place where the stitch marker is, we have to insert the hook. Now we are starting row 2, which is just like before. You have to make 2 single crochets in each. I'll be using this one and continuing the tutorial now. Okay, so if you are like facing any difficulties in making the magic ring, you can use the first method where it is more easier. You have to make 2 chains, and into the first chain you do 6 single crochets, and you just follow the pattern. Okay, now row 2, so into each of these stitches you have to make 2 single crochets. So insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, mark this as your first stitch. Okay, this is the first stitch of our row 2, and into the same you have to insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Just made 2 single crochets into the first stitch. So into the second stitch, make 2 single crochets, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, make another single crochet into the same. So likewise, you're gonna keep repeating the pattern, which in patterns you will just see INC times 6. So that means into the 6 stitches from the first row, now you are going to do 2 stitches into each. So 2 times 6, the total stitch count would be 12. So into the next, insert, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2. Same 2. Okay, so into the remaining 3 stitches, place 2 each. Okay, now let's see the total stitch count. So this is the first one where the stitch marker is, that is 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so that is the end of the second row. Now let's start row 3. So remove the stitch marker, and into that first stitch you're going to insert the hook and make 1 single crochet into the first stitch. Into the second stitch you have to make 2 single crochets. That means you have to do an increase. Okay, and then what you have to do is repeat the pattern. So single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase. So into the first one, let's just first make it 1 single crochet, mark it as your first stitch. Into the second, increase. So that means make 2 single crochets into the same stitch. So 1 and 2. So since we are repeating single crochet increase, into the next you have to make 1 single crochet. So into the next you make 2 single crochets and increase. So this is the pattern that you have to repeat. So once again, single crochet and increase. Single crochet and increase. I have to repeat it 2 more times. This is my final increase of row 3. So by the end of this row you should be having a total stitch count of 18. So you can count and check whether there is 18. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So by the end of row 3, total number of stitches is 18. Next we are going to start row 4. So for that, just let me take out some of them. Okay, So to start row 4, remove the stitch marker, and into the first stitch you are making one single crochet. Mark it as the first stitch. Into the next you have to do an increase, so place 2 single crochets into the second stitch. So 1 and 2. Into the next, place 1 single crochet. Okay, so this is the pattern that you have to repeat. Single crochet, increase, single crochet. So let me show it to you again. So into this stitch, which is the 4th stitch, you place 1 single crochet. Into the next, increase, into the next, single crochet. Okay, repeat the pattern again. 1 single crochet, increase, one single crochet, again into the next, 1 single crochet, increase, and 1 single crochet. Repeat it 2 more times. 1 single crochet, increase, and 1 single crochet. Last repeating, 1 single crochet, increase, and 1 single crochet. Okay, that is the end of row 4, and by the end of row 4 the total stitch count is 24. Okay, you can count to check whether you have 24. If you do not have 24, that means you have skipped an increase. Okay, so just undo the thing and redo it again. Okay, so at the end of each row, just make sure you have the correct total stitch count. It doesn't make that much of a difference, but since you are a beginner, it's better to keep track of the stitch count. Okay, so the first row, you can see we have completed 4 rows. So this is 6 stitches, and this is the second row which we had 12. This is the third row which we had 18, and this is the 4th row that we just finished, which has 24. Now for the next 5 rows, you are just going to place single crochet into each of the stitches. So let's just do row 6. So remove the stitch, sorry, let's just do row 5. Remove the stitch marker. Into the first one, place 1 single crochet. Mark it as your first stitch. Okay, into the second, place 1 single crochet. Likewise, into each of the stitches you have to place just 1 single crochet only, so the total stitch count will not change. It's just 24. So by the end of row 5, the total stitch count is still 24. Okay, so place 1 single crochet into each. Okay, I'm at the end of row 5 and just placing the final single crochets. Okay, So if you count, by the end of this row you'll still be having 24 stitches. So this is row 5 that we just finished, and next for row 6, 7, 8 and 9 you are going to do the same thing, which means you just place one single crochet into each for the next 4 rows. Okay, I'll see you guys at the end of 4 more rows, which is row number 9. Okay, so remember, your stitch count will not change. If it changes, that means you have accidentally placed an increase somewhere. Okay, it is very important that the stitch count remains the same, because otherwise we won't be able to make the legs. Now I have made 8 legs, so, and each leg will take up to 3 stitches. So it is very important that the stitch count should be 24, because 24 divided by 3 is 8, and then only you will get 8 legs. Okay, so the stitch count will not change. Just place single crochet into each. I'll see you guys after 4 more rows of just placing single crochets. Okay guys, so this is how your work should look like right now. So we've done a total number of rows. We've done a total of 9 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this was 6, 12, 18, 24, and then we did single crochet around for 5 rows from row number 5 to 9. Okay, now we have reached up to this point and we have to make the legs. Okay, so for that, this is a bit tricky. You have to identify the front loop and the back loop of a stitch. So let me show it to you. Now when you turn the work towards you like this, like it's like a cup, right? So here you can see this one. You can see a V like this. So this is one stitch. Okay, that is how you count the stitches. This is 1, 2, 3. Now when you have the work like this, facing it this way, this is towards your side, right? This is known as the front loop, and this one is outwards, right? This is known as the back loop. Okay, so this is the front loop of the first stitch and this is the back loop of the first stitch. Yeah. Okay, so to the back loop, sorry okay, so to the front loop we are going to do the next stitches. You are only working with the front loop. So earlier we went through both. Okay, now you have to go only through the front loop. I hope you understood it. So this is the front loop and this is the back loop. So for this next round, which is actually not the round, we are just making the legs of the octopus boy. So you have to work in the front loop. So this is the first stitch of this is the first stitch of the previous row, which was row number 9. So into this you just send your hook into the front loop like this, and then you are going to pull up a loop. You are making a single crochet. Okay, yarn over and pull through 2. Mark this as your first stitch. This is the leg that we are making, so mark it as your first, just to know where the first stitch is. And into the second one also go through the front loop only. Okay, before going through the front loop, now you are learning a new stitch, which is half double crochet. Okay, so this whole thing we did using single crochets. Now you have to do half double crochets. So for that, you yarn over like this first. Now earlier we didn't do anything as such, we just insert the hook into the stitch. Now before inserting the hook, you have to yarn over and insert the hook into the front loop only, here, okay, and pull up a loop like this. Now you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over like this and pull through all these 3 loops, okay, and you have to do this 2 more times into this same place, okay. So yarn over, and here you can see into this front loop, the same place where we placed the half double crochet before, you have to place 2 more half double crochets. So insert, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Do it 1 more time, yarn over into the same place, insert the hook, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3. Into the next front loop, insert the hook into the front loop, and now you are doing something called the slip stitch, okay. So to do that, you are going to insert the hook, pull up a loop just like single crochet. Now if you were to do a single crochet, what will you do? You will simply yarn over and pull through these 2 loops. But when you are doing the slip stitch, what you do is, when you reach up to this point, you simply pull this one through this stitch, through this loop, okay. So let me show it to you again. So we were here, I did 3 half double crochets into the front loop, and then into the next stitches front loop, I insert, pull up a loop and pull it all the way through like this. That is a slip stitch, okay. So 1 leg is done, okay. So now the second leg, into the next stitch front loop, you're going to insert the hook and make a single crochet, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Into the next stitches front loop, insert, before inserting, this is half double crochet, so you have to yarn over, insert the hook into the next, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3. Do this 2 more times, yarn over, insert into the front loop, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook and pull through 3, yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3, and into the next one you are going to do the slip stitch. So into the front loop, insert the hook, pull up a loop and pull it all the way through. Now we have completed 2 legs. It's easy, right? You have to just repeat it for 6 more times and then you'll get a total count of 8 legs, okay. So let me show it to you again. Into the front loop, you insert, make a single crochet. Into the next, you have to make 3 half double crochets. So yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 3, and into the next slip stitch. So insert, pull up a loop and pull it all the way through. See, 3 legs done. Just repeat it. Single crochet, 3 half double crochet, slip stitch. That is the pattern for 1 leg. Okay. Repeat it and I'll see you guys at the end of making 8 legs. Okay, so I just finished making the 8 legs and this is how it looks like. Just ignore this long thread. that was our tail end. So yeah, next, now if you did the job properly, which is working only into the front loop, you should be able to see a ridge like this. This is the back loop of the stitches that you made the legs onto. Okay, so this is the back loop of the very first stitch, this one, and likewise you'll be having 24 back loops like this. Now the next row will be working into this back loop. Okay, so for the next row, now this is the row that this is row number 10 that we are working, because earlier the legs, it doesn't count onto a row, it's just to the front loop of the 9th row we made the legs, and now we are moving on to row number 10 where we'll be doing the decreases to close this cup. Okay, so now this is where we stopped with the slip stitch for the 8th leg, and then when you look here, this is the first back loop. Okay, so you are going to send your hook into that, and you are going to make a single crochet. So pull up the loop, you got 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2. That is the first stitch of row number 10. Mark it as your first stitch, and now you have to do a decrease. So that means the next 2 stitches you have to combine into one. So for that, you are going to insert your hook into this back loop, and once again insert the hook into the next back loop, and then you are going to pull up the loop through those 2. It will be a little bit difficult, but it can be done. Okay, so then you'll be having 2 loops on your hook, and then yarn over and pull through 2. Now this is a decrease. Okay, so the 2 stitches became 1, and into the next just place 1 single crochet. So the pattern is single crochet, decrease, single crochet. Okay, so to the next one, single crochet, go through the back loops of the next 2, pull up the loop, yarn over, pull through 2, that is the decrease, and again single crochet. Okay, single crochet, decrease, single crochet, single crochet, decrease, as you can see it is a bit hard. Okay, decrease, single crochet. So the pattern is single crochet, decrease, single crochet. Again, single crochet, go through the back loops, decrease, single crochet. The final one, single crochet, decrease, single crochet. Okay, so as you can see, now it is starting to close. See? If you want, you can start to fill it up with polyfill, or you can do the next round and then start to fill it with polyfill. So I'm gonna do the next round. So remove the stitch marker, insert your hook into the stitch like this, just like before. Okay, so into the first one, make a single crochet, mark it as your first stitch, and then into the next two. Okay, into the first one, make a single crochet, and into the next two you have to do a decrease. So go through the front loops of the next two stitches like this, pull up the loop like this. You got two loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through two. Again, single crochet, into the next two, decrease. Go through the front loops only like this, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two. Okay, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two. Into the next two, go through the front loops, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through two. Okay, repeat the pattern, single crochet, decrease. Single crochet, decrease. Now if you prefer to use safety eyes, no, this is my final decrease. So go through the front loops of the next last two stitches, pull through two. Okay, so now it is, the opening gets smaller and smaller. So now is a good time to fill the octopus boy with polyfill. So if you don't have polyfill, you can use cotton or you can use scrap yarn. So I'm just gonna insert the polyfill in like this. Make sure that you stuff the octo firmly, like okay. I feel like it needs more, so I'm gonna add more. Looks about right. So the next round, now if you count the total number of stitches, it should be 12. Okay, so this is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 and 12. Now we are going to do the final decreasing round. So for that, remove the stitch marker and you have to do 6 decreases. So what I mean by that is, you have to go through the front loops of the first 2 stitches, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. That is your first decrease. Okay, so mark it as your first stitch. Okay, into the next 2 front loops, okay, go through the front loops of the next 2, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Likewise to the next 2, go through the front loops, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Into the next, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Into the next, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And this is the final decrease. So front loops, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And this is how it should look like. So you should be left with 6 stitches at the end of this row. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now when you reach up to this point, we are done. We just have to finish this off. Normally in the patterns you would see FO, finish off. So to do that, you're gonna have a little bit of a tail, like, see, a long tail, cut it, and then this loop, this was the one that we were working with, so you are going to pull through this, pull it out. Okay, now your work won't get undone. And what should we do with this long tail? Let me show it to you. Now is the time where we use the darning needle. So insert it like this, and then you are going to send your darning needle into the front loops of these 6 stitches. Okay, so what is the front loop? This one, this is the front loop. And the next one, this is the front loop. The front loops will be on the top like this, like in mine. Okay, so send it through the first one. Oops, sorry, pull it out. Send it to the second one, pull it out. Send it through the third one, pull it out. Send it through the fourth one, pull it out. Send it through the fifth one, pull it out, and through the sixth one, the last one, pull it out. And now a little bit of magic. So you are going to pull from this end, and this one will get closed. Okay, done. See, that is how we finish it off. And then you have to hide this tail, so pull it tight, and then I am going to just send the needle through the project like this. Okay, and just send it again like this, under, and I'm just gonna make a knot over here so that it won't get undone, and I'm gonna send it through my project few more times like this. Okay, and the excess yarn, I'll just cut it off. We are done. So the body and the legs are done. Now we have to make this headphone part and glue the eyes. So to glue the eyes, I use B6000 glue. The eyes are 5 millimeters. These are half beads, like half of a bead. So normally I prefer to use half beads instead of using safety eyes, because when you are using safety eyes, you do not have the freedom of placing the eyes wherever you want. Like, I have made kind of this thing where this is for bigger amigurumis, where I just glue the half bead onto a pin and I can just decide on the placements. So I prefer half beads to safety eyes. So yeah, so this is where I'm gonna, you can place the eyes according to your wish, but this is how I do it. So normally this like weird looking place, this is where the work is ended, like each row is ended. That's why it looks weird, a little bit weird. I don't know whether you can see it. Anyway, normally I put this towards the back, and right opposite I consider it as the front. So here I'll just right above the leg, right about at row number 8, I put a little bit of glue, that is for one eye. And the next one, normally I place it about 4 stitches apart, so around here. Okay, and just let it dry a little bit. Next we'll move on to make the headphone part. Now basically your Octoboy is complete, but if you want to make the same thing as mine with the headphones, you have to follow the next part, which is very easy. This is 4-ply milk cotton yarn in the color white. So if you don't have milk cotton, just use acrylic. Making the headphone part is very easy. It's super easy. It's like the easiest part. So for that, you are just going to make chains. So remember the chain 2 one that I taught you? So likewise, you're just gonna twist. Have it like this. Twist, insert your thumb, pull out the loop like this. Okay, so that is the slip knot. You can make it smaller by pulling from this end. And basically the chains. How do you make the chains? You are going to yarn over and pull through this loop. That is your first chain. Again, yarn over and pull through this loop. So you are going to just make chains which will be roughly enough to cover up the head. Okay, so let's see. I think like 12 chains would be enough. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's see. Just place it over the octo's head. I'll just make one more. So 13. Place it over the head. Yep, that's enough. So then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut the yarn and I'm gonna pull this out. Okay, so next you have to do is attach this to the octo. So if you don't like to sew, you can glue it on, but I think it's better to sew. So if you want, you can use the help of some pins to place this in a proper place, like keep it in place like this. And just make sure that this side is aligned with this side, so it's up to the length, up to the height of this eye, which is row number 8. Okay, this is a bit short, so I'll just pull it down. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna send it in like this, take it out, and this side also the same thing. Send it in, pull it out from this place, and I'm gonna make a knot. Okay, so then I'm gonna make a knot like this. Place few knots, and then I'm going to hide this just send it through your work like that, this side too, and just cut off the excess yarn. Cut off the excess yarn. Okay, now I'm gonna use some glue to make sure that this headband stays in place. Okay, so I'm just gonna lift it a little bit and put some glue and just tap on it. Okay, and this one, now this is another type of yarn that I have, so I use that to make these small bows. So if you don't have that, you can use milk cotton yarn and just create a bow like this. So it's pretty easy. Okay, the thing is that since this has, like, 4-ply means it has 4 strands, and you can see the strands separately, and I don't like it, so I'm using another yarn to make the bow. So you can just use this like this, and with the help of glue you can glue it onto the headband. Okay, so I'm using another yarn. Okay, and I'm gonna paste it here. So do the same thing to the other side. Okay, that's it. Next is the keychain part. You can attach a normal keychain, or you can use this without a keychain, like a small desk buddy, or you can just go ahead and customize your keychain just like me, but you'll need to have different kinds of beads. Okay, so this is my bead box. I have another set of beads as well, but I'm going to use some from this, and you need to have a wire. To be honest, I don't know the gauge of the wire. Like, I know there's a thing called gauge. I just have a wire like this. I think it's the thickness. Let's see the thickness. It's like 1 millimeter, and I'll be using this to make. I already have some made here. So this is a green one. So I have flowers and some other, beads. So since the one that I'm making right now is a pinkish one, I'm going to use this and a little pink and these beads. Let's see. Oh, this is also pink. I did not have this. Actually, I could have used this color, no? Anyway, well, should I use blue? Let's use blue because it goes with the headphones. Let's just use blue. This one. That looks nice. Okay, so I'm just gonna cut like 2 inches. It will be too much, but yeah, let me just cut that out. And then I use the plier and I'm gonna form the eye pin. So I don't know how to explain this, but this is how I do it. So you can just skip this part because this is not necessary. You can just use a normal keychain. This is me being extra. Okay, so that is, I'm not good at making the eye pins, but yeah. Okay, so let's just keep this as the guide. I'm going to put this one. It looks too big anyway. And 4 small white beads. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. And then the flower. I'm tired. Okay. Next, we have to form the top part of the eye pin. So, just like before, you're gonna fold this to this side. And now this is going to be too much, so I'm gonna cut a little bit. I don't know where it went. Okay. And then form the eye part like this. Okay. Okay. Nice. Now I need the, what do you call this? This is the key ring and this is the, I don't know, the small ring for the key ring. Okay, so this is a normal key ring and oh, I don't need 2. Why did I take 2? Anyway, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove this one and I'm gonna fix this one, the flower, to the top. Tighten it and then to this side, and I'm gonna send it through the octo. Why is this hard? Okay, so I used to make this loop, but I don't trust this loop that much, so this time I'm just gonna send it through the body of the amigurumi. So send it and then you tighten it. So this is how the octoboy looks like. It's so cute. And this is another baby. So you can just stop by making this, but if you make the headbands, like the headphones, it really does add value to the octoboy. So it looks so pretty and cute. Yeah. Thank you for watching, guys. If you do have any questions, please feel free to comment because I reply to all the comments. And if you want like a quick reply, just don't hesitate to DM me on my Instagram. So all the links will be mentioned down in the description. And thank you guys for watching. See you guys in my next video. Have a nice day. Bye.